Hello everyone, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Ambassador and specifically its automatic fire mode. So this is the second video on the Ambassador. Last Friday we did the video on the Ambassador's charge fire mode, which is actually quite good. It surprised me. I haven't really used that mode too much. But now we're going to be looking at the regular automatic fire mode of it. Now, in this weapon series, I take a weapon, I build it out, and I test that weapon on its own merits. Meaning I don't mix it with any kind of external factors. That would be things like Warframe abilities, pets putting statuses on enemies, things like that. I just build the weapon out and I test it, and I let the viewer make their own intelligent conclusions about adding those external things on the weapon. Things like, roar, adding roar on the weapon, or adding nourish on the weapon and maybe switching the elements up because of it. So, okay, let's get into the Ambassador build here. So, the Ambassador is a automatic laser rifle. The interesting things about it is that it starts with electric innate, but that's all it has. It does not have normal IPS stats, just electric. It has viral here because we've put viral on the weapon. So if you haven't put anything on the weapon, all it will say is electric. The other interesting thing about it is that it has a higher than normal crit multiplier, but it does have a low crit chance. So it has a low crit chance stat, it has a higher than normal crit multiplier, and it has a high status chance. So now we're going to be building this weapon out mostly for crits, just because it works better that way. Even though this weapon is mostly a status weapon with a lower crit chance, the crit chance is high enough where using Galvanized Scope and Critical Delay puts us into full yellows. So that will be good enough to make this a crit build. So now if you remember the, or if you've watched the charge shot video from last week, I'll just show it briefly here. There's not much different. The only thing that's different is the charge shot didn't need punch through, so we used Vile Acceleration instead of Prime Shred. But basically everything else is different except for the Arcane. We use Deadhead on the main instead of Merciless. But the automatic and the charge shot, they don't really work well together. Just because it's not actually an alt fire to charge shot, it's a mode switch. And so when you alt click, you're actually not shooting the weapon, you're just switching to the charge shot mode. And then when you want to go back to automatic, you have to click it again to switch your mode. And that mode switch is actually quite long. Reload speed makes it a little bit shorter, but it's still quite long. So because of that, you don't really use both of these during gameplay. You're usually using one or the other. I mean, you could use both of them, but I don't believe that's the right way to play this. So, okay, so let's get into the mods here. Galvanized Chamber for multi-shot. Galvanized Scope for crit chance. Hunter Munitions for slashes on criticals. Prime Shred for our fire rate mod, but specifically, well, not really specifically, but more so because of that punch through. That punch through is really nice. The charge shot was not able to punch through because it blows up. So Prime Shred just, obviously the automatic mode doesn't blow up, so you can use Prime Shred. And so this makes it more competitive with like AoE weapons that hit multiple targets. Because now, with a single target assault rifle, you can hit multiple targets with punch through. Now, unfortunately, Prime Shred is a login reward. So if you don't have Prime Shred, you probably could just use the Vile Acceleration mod from the charge shot build. So don't feel bad if you put the polarity for Vile Acceleration on. Okay, Critical Delay for crit chance. Vital Sense for crit damage. Rhyme Rounds for cold, 60-60. And Malignant Force for the Toxin 60-60 to make viral together. And then finally, in the Exilus slots here, we have Primed Rifle Ammo Mutation. So this weapon shoots very fast. It has a high magazine supply, but it shoots extremely, or it has a high magazine and it has a high ammo supply, but it shoots extremely fast. And so if you're using this as your main damage source, you can run out of ammo. I use this weapon a lot. I've basically used the Ambassador automatic mode on Harrow for like the past 3 years. And on Harrow, I have ammo issues. Now, keep in mind, he does shoot a lot faster than normal Warframes. So there's that. But I think even on a normal Warframe, you might have ammo issues if you're using this as your primary damage source. So primary rifle ammo mutation would be the one to pick. The other option you do have that might be good enough for ammo and may give you a little tiny bit more DPS would be Vigilante Supplies. So Vigilante Supplies works very well on high fire rate, high multi-shot weapons. And this is a high fire rate average multi-shot weapon. So I think Vigilante Supplies is okay on this weapon. It gives you kind of a neutered, smaller version of the ammo pickup. So instead of the big, 92% ammo pickup switch over to your primaries, it's only a 30%. But you get that little effect at the bottom where 5% of your attack, so like you could just basically think of that as 1 out of 20. 1 out of 20 bullets will switch from a yellow crit to an orange crit, or from an orange crit to a red crit. You won't be getting orange crits with this build, so they're going to be a yellow to an orange. Now, that's not just 1 out of 20 times you press the left click button, because you have to keep in mind multi-shot. With a full galvanized chamber, I think you're at like 3.3 multi-shots. That's like 3 shots every time you click the button. Yeah, I mean, 1 out of 20 of those will be a orange crit. So it's a very small DPS increase, but it is technically a DPS increase. And you still have a very small effect for the ammo pickup. So that could be an option. If you're using this on Harrow like I am, though, I do recommend primed rifle ammo mutation because you do fly through ammo a lot quicker because of the fire rate. Okay, and then for the arcane, we're going to be going with primary deadhead. This is going to give us a 360% damage increase, a plus 30% headshot multiplier, and a little bit less recoil when we're shooting, which is nice. And that's really it. That's it for the Ambassador automatic mode. I'm going to show this off on Steel Path Kuva Survival, and then I'm going to do a Steel Path Lua. I'm not going to switch the format yet with like the Lua conjunction like I was saying last video. Maybe during the week, or maybe I'll decide not to. I'm not really too sure. Maybe I just had a bad day last Friday. I guess we'll see. So I'm going to be doing this on an Anaros with no Archon shards that increase weapon performance. No mods or arcanes on the Anaros that increase weapon performance. And with the pet with no sentinel weapon and no mods on the pet that increase weapon performance. Alright, so once in a while during this, you're going to see me press my 3 button to give myself armor and status immunity. But that's the only thing I'm going to be pressing. So if you see this, that's just armor and status immunity. It doesn't actually affect the weapon. Now, pretty much all weapons are going to start out pretty doo-doo until you get your conditionals up. So try not to judge this on like the first 30 seconds. Let me get some stacks of Deadhead up, and then we should be slaying. So there also is something unique that you can do with weapons with innate toxin or electric, like this weapon. This weapon has the innate electric. And you can almost treat them as if they were like Kuva or Tenet weapons. And basically have a free mod slot. But it would mean you weren't using a viral. So that would really only be good for Whispers content. Corrosive's not bad for general content either, it's just that Viral's typically better. Viral just has a very big buff to it. I really liked this weapon on Harrow because it's like a pinpoint accurate weapon that's easy to get headshots with. So I'm able to get the big like energy buffs from getting headshots. And it has punch through, so you can get multiple headshots if you're like lining enemies up. So that's why this was my favorite Harrow weapon for like 3 years. And, you know, this normally does yellow crits, but on Harrow it's going to do red crits 2/3 of the time. It'll only go down to yellow crits 1/3 when his invulnerability is up. You can kind of think of Harrow's fourth ability like a pizza with 3 slices cut into it. So kind of like, you know, 3 giant slices cut in. And only 2/3 of those slices give you the crit buff. The other 1/3 is the invulnerability buff. So Harrow doesn't technically have a complete like uptime on his like crazy crit. It's 2/3 uptime, and then the other 1/3, or the first 1/3 rather, is the invulnerability. I feel like I'm getting like moved over to the side. Is that because of this? I think it was because of the turret. I was like, why am I drifting over to the left or right? So I don't know if anyone's heard, but there's going to be some new weapons coming to the game, new Tenet and Kuva weapons. One of our, I won't take credit for this because I'm a little bit too lazy to like read the dev, or watch the dev streams and like read the patches or like what the future patches are going to be. But one of our clan members, in Discord we call him Indy, but in the game he's Winologalus. He did the hard work of actually like looking through it, and it's going to be the Kuva Sobek, which is really nice because the Sobek's a cool weapon. It just was like a little bit. It was like really on the cusp of being an amazing weapon. It was still a super steel path viable. It was just like on the cusp of being a really, really good weapon. So I think the Kuva version is going to like push it past that point. So the Kuva Sobek, and it's like a shotgun for anyone that doesn't know. And it already has a really strong augment, but I guess both of these are coming out with augments too. So it'll have another augment. And then the Tenet Glaxion. And the Glaxion, admittedly, I don't have a lot of experience with. I know it's a beam weapon that like shoots cold, but that's really all I know. I don't think I've really done anything else with the Glaxion. All right, we have Malice. He's the most dangerous Acolyte. So he's going to put a mag bubble on me, probably very soon. I'm afraid to shoot because I don't want to down myself. There it is. Okay, the mag bubble's on me. So now all you got to do is roll, and you drop the mag bubble behind you, and now it's safe to fight him. If you try to fight him with the mag bubble on you, I think you're okay to melee, but if you shoot, you'll down yourself. And he will cast that mag bubble again, so I'm kind of both listening for it, although I have music up now on this, and visually looking for it. So it's probably going to be more visual that I'm going to see it. I thought having the music in the background might like eliminate some of my weird mouth noises that I make sometimes. So I have the mag bubble. I'm going to roll and leave it way down here in the... Get myself some more armor and status immunity. So the Ambassador automatic mode is not the best at the Acolyte. It's not horrible, but it's definitely not super comfortable fighting the Acolyte with this. I think I have it on me again. Yep, okay, I'm good. The Ambassador automatic mode against the Acolyte, it kind of feels like a normal assault rifle, but maybe even worse because it's viral electric, which is not really the best combo. I don't want to lose stacks of Deadhead either. I should be killing little trash in between. So we're going to hit these life sports, and then we'll head back and kill Malice. I don't know if he can teleport us. I don't know if he's... Can all of them teleport? I don't know that, actually. I feel like all of them can teleport, but I think maybe they can't. Like, not them themselves, but I think all of them can teleport you to them. But I could be wrong. Maybe it is only like one of them, and I just feel like it's all of them sometimes. So I'm super excited for the Kuva Sobek. The Tenant Glaxion I'm going to be building out as well. I just don't know too much about that weapon. Like, I don't know enough to be excited about it, you know, how strong it's going to be. The Kuva Sobek I am very excited for. There's also going to be some changes to semi-automatic single-target weapons. That's going to give them, I think it's a mod, it gives them like punch-through. Like Shred, except it's not a login reward. So that's going to be really nice. It'll only be for semi-automatic weapons, and it'll eliminate any fire rate you can put on the mod or on the gun. So if you choose to use that semi-automatic mod, it's going to give you a crap load of damage, a crap load of punch through, but you won't be able to mod any kind of fire rate on the weapon at all. So it might be worth it for some weapons. It might turn like some of the semi-automatic like rifles into like little like scout rifles, like small DMRs. All right, we're almost at the 10-minute mark here, and then we'll see how the Ambassador did. Oh, that is not my weapon. That's a power cell. Got my weapon stolen again here. Come on, I'm trying to get my kill counts up. That is a power cell again. There we go. All right, 10 minutes in. We're at 349 kills. That's a little bit below average. It's about average. So 350 to 400 is average. This is 349. I mean, I guess that is like almost average. So average to a below average. Maybe slightly below average. It's kind of what I expected of it. It's a basic assault rifle, maybe a little bit weaker than a basic assault rifle because of the viral electric, which is not really the best combo. Viral is really, really strong, though. It's hard to move off of viral. Before I start the Lua Conjunction, though, I do want to show you how you could move off of viral, especially for Whispers, because on Whispers, this is extremely valid. So I should have showed this right from the beginning. So for anyone that's still watching on YouTube, here's a little extra. So the Ambassador here. So basically any weapon that starts with innate toxin or innate electric, you can do this with. And because this is one of the weapons that starts with innate electric, you can do this with this weapon. So I still think for regular gameplay, this is the best, viral. But if you're doing Whispers, if you know anything about Whispers, enemies there are resistant to viral. They take less damage from viral sources and slash sources. Now we're going to still have slash on this weapon just because that's how it is. But so for Whispers content, what you would do is you take off Rhyme Rounds, boop, and now it moves it to corrosive. You get rid of your electricity, you get rid of your viral, you get rid of your electricity and viral, and you just have corrosive. Now, in Whispers content, corrosive is the best general element. So this is perfect for Whispers. And guess what? Now you have a free mod slot. And if you remember what we were saying last week on Friday about the charge shot mode, crit damage is very valuable on this weapon because it has a higher than average crit multiplier. And so you could add that bladed rounds like we were trying to add on last week's build, but we weren't able to, you know. So you can go boop, and that would be a perfect Whispers build. Sorry, I can't get my words out this morning. I do all these videos in the morning. I'm still half asleep, trying to get coffee in my face, wake myself up. So for Whispers, this would be really good right here. So you could also consider taking Hunter Munitions off for Whispers because Slash is pretty weak for Whispers. It'll still do stuff, but it doesn't do that much stuff like it does on normal content. So you can consider taking off Hunter Munitions, but then you're really getting heavy into like switching the build up just for a certain piece of content. So that would be up to you. If you did want to take Hunter Munitions off, the next best thing to add would probably be... Oof, I was going to say Galvanized Aptitude, but now you really only have Corrosive, do you? So probably not Galvanized Aptitude. I don't know, actually. Maybe Serration. Serration's an easy one that's boring, but it always works. But yeah, this would be the Whispers build right here. I'm going to switch back to the non-Whispers. I'm going to put Viral back on, so I take off Bladed Rounds. And now we have to make Viral here, because remember, the game reads it from left to right, and it puts your innates at the very end. So right now, the Electric's here, and it's mixing with the Toxin to make... Corrosive. So we need to make it read this and this to make a combined element and then have Electric by itself at the end. So we put Rhyme Rounds, boop, and then it reads Cold, Toxin, and it makes those into Viral, and then it's going to read Electric, and because there's nothing else to mix with Electric, it's going to be by itself. So we go back to Viral, Electric. Alrighty, let me shut my mouth and start this Lua conjunction. So I'll do a Circulus.
These are worthy foes. Underestimate them.
Now the game starts you with these two Drakmasters with no conditionals up, so they're like mini bosses basically. I hate these two guys. And they steal your weapons. There we go. Stole it already. You know, every weapon starts weak, which is not usually a problem because you're fighting trash, but those Drakmasters are actually pretty tanky. So, alright, let's start this Circulus. There's a lot of other things coming to the game pretty soon. I think like enemy armor cap is going to be 2,700, which is pretty significant. So it's going to be easier to... I don't know if it'll be easier to full strip. I don't know exactly. But yeah, the enemy armor cap is going to be lower. Just because everything is percentage based, so I don't know if it'll be easier to full strip or if certain things will just have more value. I guess we'll have to see when it comes out. Enemy resistances are getting simplified, which is a huge thing that I love. Because I hated that, like, you know, oh, Grineer are weak against Corrosive, except for this one very specific Grineer that's not. Or, you know, this is weak against this element type, except for this one very specific Corpus enemy. You know, now it's all going to be across the board. They're just weak to what they're weak to. I'm going to assume that it's just going to be, you know, Corpus weak to Toxin, Grineer weak to Corrosive, Infested to Gas. Corpus, I guess, is also weak to Magnetic, but... Oh, Corpus shields are getting buffed. And health values on Corpus and on Infested are getting buffed. So that way people aren't just building anti-Grineer builds and that's it. So that's going to be a bonus for general builders like myself that just do non-faction mod kind of crap. I guess you could still do faction mod stuff, but I don't like having to have multiple builds for each weapon. I don't feel like there's any content in the game that's that hard where you have to have multiple builds. I've always used general setups. Maybe like level cap, you know, faction mods start becoming kind of useful, but I feel like there's a lot more people that claim they do level cap than people that actually do level cap. Like if you've actually tried to do a disruption, you know, people will be like, oh, you can do a disruption in an hour. Have you actually tried to do a disruption in an hour? You'll be in there for 4 hours and enemies are still like level friggin' 300. Only the sweatiest of the sweaties are finishing in an hour. And they're picking very specific maps. They're going in there with groups. So like level cap is not something to... it's a fun thing to do once in a while, and that's kind of what I did with it. I did it a few times, and that was basically it. I don't really have a lot of fun only being able to play invisible or invincible Warframes. Or only being able to use slash on weapons, because that's the only thing that's going to go through enemies. Unless you're doing the maps that a lot of people do, which are infested. In which case, the enemies are paper anyway, even at level cap. Yeah, my weapon's still in here. But yeah, general builds, they work well, like, until enemies are a few thousands of levels in. Will a faction mod work better? Yeah, it'll probably work a bit better. But it's also going to be more annoying to have to switch to it every time you're playing a different map. And the thing is, you don't just switch your faction mod. You need to switch your element too. That's something people neglect, is they just, you know, faction damage, that's all I need. Well, if you're going to go out of the way to do faction damage, you should also do faction element as well. So it's not as easy as just switching a faction mod over. You're switching entire builds. You know, if you're playing Corpus and you're going for Toxin, that's one element mod. Or if you're playing against Grenier and you're going for Corrosive, that's 2 element mods. Those are 2 completely different builds, because one build has 1 free mod slot and one doesn't. I might fail here on the Thoraxes. Let's see. Let's see how far I can get this here. I can get enough slash procs into that Thorax, he should die. Yep. The Ambassador is a very average weapon, so sometimes average weapons fail here. And not only is it an average weapon, but it's not the best at dealing with big tanky boys. 100 munitions helps with it, but it's not perfect against it. And my aim is horrible. There we go. Yeah, I will. Don't think I can make it there in a few seconds. Trying. 2%. Yeah, okay, that's okay. That failed there. We kind of expected that. So 6 minutes in, 175 kills. That's about half of what we got at the 10 minutes, so that's about right. So this is a below average weapon, the automatic fire mode. The charged was average to maybe even above average. So I think unless you're doing something specific with the Ambassador, maybe the charge shot mode is a better way to use it. But like I was saying, I use this with Harrow, and with Harrow you want to get headshots. And so like with Harrow, I would use the automatic mode. Even though the automatic mode tested worse than the charge shot mode, when you mix it with those externals, like different Warframe abilities and stuff, like with Harrow, I think the automatic mode is slightly better. But generally, if you were just to, want to build this weapon out for however which mode does the most damage, like by itself, I think the charge shot mode is going to be stronger. And if you're interested in that video and you haven't watched it yet, that'll be the video we put out last Friday. It should be the one right before this. So, yeah, I think the Ambassador is a fun weapon. It is basically two completely different weapons. Even though they're built very similarly, but because you don't really use them both at the same time, they're basically two weapons. So it's cool that you get two weapons in one. So yeah, that's the Ambassador. I hope you guys liked it. If you liked it, give it a like. And thanks so much, guys, for watching. Take it easy. Bye.